Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Frosty Talk, the show that connects you, the Path to Pro enthusiast, with players from sheer cold. Joining me today is Rephid, main support for the team. So, Rephid, welcome to the program today, and let's start things off nice and simple. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, I'm Rephid. I'm the main support for Sheer Cold, as you already said, and I'm 19 years old. I'm from Germany, and yeah.
Okay, well, thank you again. Welcome to the broadcast. So, let's start things off fairly simple here. What first drew you to Overwatch, and do you have any other gaming competitive experience prior to that?
I actually don't, and my story with Overwatch was a very interesting one, I'd say. So when I first heard about the game, I think it was in July 2016. My friends were playing it, and I was just kind of like out of the group. I was not playing the game as they were, because I have like a trend with let's say, a trend with trends basically, where I just like ignore them for the longest time, and then when they're like kind of over, I just like get to them and like, oh my god, guys, this is so cool. And so I started a little bit late with like the Overwatch hype, and I immediately got into the game, and I was so happy to see like a game in how do you say, portrayed and polished like Blizzard had, and I was just like astonished. It was really nice to see like a game like this. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
And when you started, did you start out as a support main? Obviously, you're now in a pretty high-ranking contenders team as a support player, but I understand not everybody starts out that way. What was the first character you were drawn to, and how did you become a main support player?
Actually, interesting story, because I was actually a DPS main when I started playing the game, and I was mainly drawn to Genji. I have like, I think 700 hours in Genji or something like this until season 10 or so. And then I kind of heard from a few friends of mine who were playing the game as well, that they were trying to play for some teams, and I wanted to try the same. And I played for a few like German only teams, I think it was back then. What kind of happened back then was, I think I realized, okay, well, I'm not having that much fun playing DPS, and like the other DPS characters, I was kind of not as happy with myself as with like support characters, which I was playing at the time very much in comp. And that kind of led to me like thinking, maybe I should like do a role swap. And when I realized, okay, Lucia is actually an assassin, but it's a support as well, I kind of like the support role, so I just kind of stuck with it, and I think turned out pretty well for me.
I think that's interesting, because that's kind of the same kind of pattern that Cruz has as well. Cruz was like, you can find pictures of Cruz as a Genji main, and now he's a support player. So you're on a good path there, I think. So is going pro, is hitting the Overwatch League your ultimate goal, or are you just riding the wave and seeing where you go with this?
So throughout my competitive stage, I had multiple goals for myself. So first off, when I started off, it was mainly getting a good place in OD, and I think I reached that at some point. So I just like did go on from there, and saying to myself, okay, if hitting a good OD rank is something I can achieve, then let's aim for Contenders Trials, right? And once you hit that, you kind of tell yourself, okay, maybe like aim a little bit higher, and then it was like Contenders, and I kind of got there. And now I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to like aim for Overwatch League, or do I want to like look for something else in life? And at this current stage, I'm kind of indifferent about it still, but
right.
So Overwatch League is definitely something to pursue, I think.
So if an Overwatch League team came knocking, you wouldn't say no, but you're considering your options at the minute. I think that's a pretty sensible way to have that.
Yes.
Okay. So obviously, Sheer Cold have now been playing in Contenders and Contenders Trials for a little while now. What do you think's been the best moment for you as a player for Sheer Cold in that time?
With Sheer Cold, I definitely had a lot of. We had a lot of moments where I was really happy and to be a part of the team. I feel like kind of the redemption we had when we like got better and better throughout like the different months. It showed me a lot that like this team is really putting a lot of work into it, and it also showed me that like my work is appreciated, and we like improve together as a team, kind of. And so the moments that like really showed that we were improving all together was when we hit Contenders for the first time. I guess it was like 2 months ago, or like 1 month ago, I guess. And now again we did it, and I think we're just like aiming higher from now on, and it's nice to see the improvement over time so quickly.
Okay, great. And I guess maybe as an aside to that, or the flip side of that coin, what do you think's been the most important lesson you've learned, like either about the game or about yourself, or about life in general, if we can be as existential as as that about it from playing with Sheer Cold?
I think the most important lesson I learned through Overwatch is keeping a certain level of professionalism and also taking things very seriously. Whereas other people might think it's only a game, you can yourself learn something from taking it as a professional realm, a professional scene where you can learn a lot of stuff from different people. And I think one thing I took out of that is that every person you meet, even if you don't like them or whatever, can still teach you something. So I kind of like learned to to get to know people better, basically. Yeah.
I think that's very laudable. We've already touched briefly on the fact that Overwatch League might be your ultimate goal, it might not be your ultimate goal. What else are you doing aside from playing Overwatch at the minute? Are you in school? Are you in work? What's outside of Overwatch look like for you?
Basically, the only thing I'm doing next to staying home because of COVID right now is studying. So I'm in college right now. I'm in first semester, and yeah, I'm just like taking my time to focus on Overwatch next to that, and yeah, it's a good share of time, I think.
Okay, well, certainly whilst you're having this level of success with Sheer Cold, I think there's a pretty good reason to keep on plugging away at that. So congrats on your continued efforts on that one. So that's a little bit about you yourself as a player. I wanted to move on a little bit and talk about the team more generally so that people get an understanding of what your goals are and what it's been like playing for Sheer Cold. So starting out, Sheer Cold have been in and out of contenders a little bit this year. I've seen you go down into trials a couple of times. Now you're looking at your third consecutive season up in contenders. How have you kept your motivation? When you drop back down to trials, I assume that's a bit of a knock to the confidence. How have you worked to keep yourself motivated and focused on your goals?
So I think the most important part is keeping it cool, kind of, and realizing that dropping into trials is not the end for any team. So we just worked our way up from there, kind of. We were first very nervous, I feel like, in officials, and I think that showed kind of against a variety of teams where we lost matches or we lost maps that were, from a certain perspective, unlosable, kind of. And I think after like that happened like maybe 1 or 2 times, we just kind of realized, okay, like there's no pressure to it. Like we can lose. It doesn't matter for us. We'll come back stronger. And I feel like the most important or essential part is just this redemption arc that we're having with like coming back from trials and going into contenders now on the 4th place and aiming for higher. So we kind of like already know, okay, we can come back and we can get back better from this like point we're in right now. And I think that's very motivating for me, at least.
And following on from that, what is it that's changed in the past couple of months? What are the pieces you've moved around to keep this level of consistency and keep Sheer Cold up in contenders?
I think since we shifted a little bit with coaching staff, we've put a lot more emphasis on keeping a good balance between macro and micro level coaching, and also improving with like reviews and everything. So I feel like everyone in the team puts in a big ton of work just to keep the consistency in terms of learning and everything up. And I mean, you can definitely see that with every player in the game, like in the team. For example, Shade, he's been improving a load on like ball and everything, whereas when he started playing ball in the current meta, he was kind of struggling a little bit, and you could notice that. And just seeing him after a few weeks, like picking up all these cool tricks with all these mechanics, and just seeing him, work so much for the team. It's just it keeps you motivated as well to like show the team, okay, what he's doing, I can do that as well. And so that's kind of been the trend with like every member of the team, like Lusa and Grayson and Backbone. Alex, for example, as well, like they've all been putting in the hours in rank, they've been putting on the hours in what reviews and so on. So yeah.
That actually brings us nicely into another thing I wanted to talk about here, which was I've been casting a bit of trials this week. We've had a lot of competitive Overwatch going on in the past month, and it seems like we're moving towards potentially a very ball-centric meta, certainly seeing a lot of Wrecking Ball. How do you think the current meta is going to suit Sheer Cold and what you guys bring to the table?
So I think our greatest strengths in this comp or on certain maps are definitely Alex Sigma. I think he's very proficient on that hero and also like one of the top tiers in the entire Europe. So
clearly,
it's always a good point to have. Lusa Sen. I think he's mechanically just gifted. You know, he's like a natural talent and just hits his orbs, and you know, he gets the kills when nobody else can. And then also DPS line. I think we have one of the most flexible DPS in terms of backbone and Drayton in Europe. Whereas you put them on a hero and maybe they don't perform too well in the first 2 like weeks or days or whatever, where they play them, and then after some time they really pick up the pace and they become really, really good at like what they're like doing.
Yeah, they've all got that ability to grow even if they're not that comfortable at the start. And just to backtrack a little bit here as well, I almost expected when I asked you earlier on in the interview, when I said what was your best moment here, what was your favorite moment, to say being one of the only teams this year to have beaten British Hurricane. And we're looking potentially at a place where this might be the last time we see this iteration of British Hurricane in Contenders this last month. Obviously, we don't know for certain, but we've got some inklings that they might be on their way somewhere else. Having beaten them once already, do you think finally Sheercode are in a position to really take the challenge to British Hurricane in this potential final month of Contenders?
So I'm rather optimistic and realistic at the same time. It's hard to tell. I think we definitely have the potential to beat them in an official again, and I feel like that one of the main reasons why we won against them in the EBC series was that they were at the time having a new main support, and I think that like weakened them a little bit. But I think definitely if we keep our mental and we keep improving and we like keep grinding, that we definitely have a chance of taking them down, which is nonetheless going to be like the hardest task in entire Euro right now. Like it's very hard to like even take a map from them. So taking 3 maps from them, or like 5 maps in that case, if it's final, for example, which I expect it will to be, yeah, it's gonna be super hard. But I think we can manage to pull it through.
Super hard, but you've got your hopes behind you. That's good to hear. So, for the final part of the interview, Rephid, I want to give you some quick fire questions from Twitter. So we asked you all out there what you'd like to ask Rephid. So we've got a nice mix here of some serious questions, some not so serious questions. So just give me a nice quick answer, and then we'll let you go about your day. Okay, how do you feel heading into the Gauntlet?
Oh, actually, I'm super excited because I remember the Gauntlet. The Atlantic Showdown, I think it was in May of 2019. I remember it being in Krefeld, and since it was in Germany and a few friends of mine wanted to visit, we actually came over and we watched like the Gauntlet live, basically, and it was one of the most immersive experiences I've ever had in terms of Overwatch scene, because previously I've never been really to like a big event of Overwatch, and seeing all these people being like interested in the same kind of games that you play, it's astonishing, and I really felt super great about it. So heading now into Gauntlet myself, it's definitely cool to see myself like playing there now. So yeah.
Very cool. Looking forward to seeing it. Number 2, if you could play for any Overwatch League team in the league, who would you go to?
Oh, that's actually a tough question.
Yeah.
I personally think I'd say I don't have a personal favorite or like some priority where I would want to go. I think that judging from the team environments, I think Shock definitely looks fun. I mean, they're just like they're 2 times champion now, and well, they certainly have a great team atmosphere. I just think one of the teams I was rather interested in was Toronto Defiant, for example. I think they look quite well on paper. Season didn't turn out too well, but no, still looks like a nice team. So I think
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Toronto Defiant, you heard it here. If you're looking for a main support, Rephid is at least interested. Number 3, if you could play any one hero for the rest of your career, who would it be? And I think I can maybe guess this one.
I mean, try to. As I don't think you'll guess it. I don't even know myself.
Okay, I was going to say as a main support player, and having heard you already talk about Lucio, it's probably going to be Lucio.
Yeah, I'm like indifferent about it. I think Mercy and Lucio are both really great, but if I really had to pick one for the rest of my life, I think it'd be Lucio as well then, actually.
Yeah, good call. Okay, number 4, and I swear I didn't write this one, and I swear you didn't write this one. Why are you so handsome, Rephid?
Oh my god.
And like we didn't just get that question once, we got that multiple times.
Oh my god,
Okay,
So
well, look, you're going to struggle to explain away mysteries like that, so we'll give you a pass on that one.
Thank you.
Number 5, who is the best player you've ever played with?
Oh my god. Okay. In terms of teammates or also opponents?
I think anybody you've played with or against.
Okay, so one person or one player that I looked up quite much is Hardy. And when I played with him together in like Team Germany, it was he was like one of the cornerstones of the team. Basically, he gave like the whole structure and everything around it. And seeing now in British Hurricane and like playing against him, it's definitely hard to pick anyone else that's like as great as him and like as good as him as well.
Yeah, definitely a real talent. I think good pick there for the strongest person you played against. Hard to argue against that one. One final question for you then, Rephid. If Overwatch hadn't come along, do you think you'd still be trying to go pro playing some other game, or was it just Overwatch that scratched that itch for you?
Since I really didn't have a competitive background in like any other games, I didn't play CS or anything or Smash or whatever other competitive scene is there. I don't think I would have pursued it. I think I would have been just like a casual gamer, kind of just playing whatever's like new on the market, I guess, and just enjoying life in a sense. And I think I'm doing that right now as well. It's just it has become like a job hobby in a sense, in a mix where I still have fun and everything. It's a very professional atmosphere to it. I think that I wouldn't enjoy other games as much as I do Overwatch, because Overwatch is just a great game in itself.
Well, Rephid, that's the end of the question, so thank you very much for joining us. Before we let you go, where can people come find you online?
People can find me on Twitter. I think it's twitter.com/rephid.w, and when I stream, it's maybe once per year, so you better tune in on twitch.tv/Rephid.
Yeah, everybody, make sure you've got that bell icon ticked, because you don't want to miss that. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back with you soon with more Sheer Cold player content. In the meantime, keep up to date with the latest from Sheer Cold on Twitter @SheerColdGG, and in the meantime, stay frosty.